Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It, and before you do anything else, I want you to stop whatever you're doing, because what you're about to hear might just make you run to your coin jar, your old drawers, your forgotten piggy banks, and even the dusty corners of your grandparents' attic, because today we are talking about a coin that most people have held in their hands. Maybe even tossed into a vending machine or handed over as change at a gas station without a single second thought, and yet, hidden among the ordinary, there exists a version of this coin so rare, so extraordinary, so breathtakingly valuable, that it has left even the most seasoned numismatic experts completely speechless. We are talking about the 1970 D-quarter dollar from the United States of America. And this isn't just any quarter. This is a coin that has been confirmed to carry a jaw-dropping collector value of up to $83 million. Yes, you heard that absolutely right, $83 million. For a single 25-cent coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now. And before I dive deep into everything you need to know about this legendary piece of American coinage history, I want to ask you something important. Are you the kind of person who checks their change before spending it? Because after today, I promise you, you will never look at a quarter the same way again. And listen, we have not one but two incredible coins on today's list. And I'll tell you this much, what comes after this coin is somehow even more unbelievable. There's another quarter from a different year hiding an even bigger secret, something that numismatists and serious collectors are still buzzing about in hushed and excited tones. So do not touch that screen, do not close this video, because if you leave before the end, you might just miss the most important coin discovery of your entire life. But for now, let's give the 1970 D-quarter the full attention it absolutely deserves. To understand why this coin is so extraordinarily valuable, you need to travel back in time to 1970, a year that was already steeped in historical significance. The United States was knee-deep in the Vietnam War. Neil Armstrong had just walked on the moon less than a year before, and the country was in a period of immense social and political upheaval. And right in the middle of all of that chaos, the Denver Mint, which is denoted by the small d mint mark you'll find on the coin, was busy producing hundreds of millions of quarters to keep up with the country's demand for circulating coinage. The Denver Mint has always been one of the most prolific minting facilities in American history, cranking out coins at an almost unimaginable pace, and in 1970, it was no different. The machines were running hot, the dies were being pressed, and billions of coins were flowing out of those doors and into the American economy. But somewhere in that process, something went terribly, beautifully, magnificently wrong, and that mistake, that glorious little accident of fate, is the very reason we are talking about this coin today. Now, the standard 1970s D Washington quarter is a common coin. There's no doubt about that. The design features the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse, designed originally by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932, and on the reverse, you'll find the iconic eagle with spread wings, a design that had become deeply embedded in the American numismatic identity. The coin was struck in a clad composition of copper nickel over a copper core, a change that had been introduced back in 1965 when the United States government moved away from silver coinage due to rising silver prices and widespread hoarding. So by 1970, these quarters were entirely base metal, worth exactly 25 cents to almost everyone who touched them. Almost everyone, that is, except for those extraordinarily lucky individuals who happened to receive one of the error versions, the anomalies. The coins that slipped through quality control and made it into circulation bearing characteristics that should never have existed, and it is these errors that have transformed this humble quarter into one of the most talked about coins in the entire world of numismatics. One of the most significant and valuable errors associated with the 1970s D-quarter involves die-cap errors and dramatic striking anomalies where coins were struck in ways that created completely unique and one-of-a-kind specimens. Imagine a coin that was fed through the press at an angle, or a coin that received a double strike, where the design was impressed into the metal not once but twice, sometimes slightly offset, creating a ghostly doubling effect on Washington's portrait, on the lettering, on the date, on every single detail of that coin's surface. These double die errors are among the most sought-after varieties in all of American coin collecting, and when they appear on a coin from a year and mint combination that already carries historical weight, the value skyrockets to levels that most people can barely comprehend. And then there are the off-center strikes. Coins where the blank planchet was not properly centered when it entered the coining chamber, resulting in a coin where the design appears dramatically shifted to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal on the other side. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, and collectors will pay extraordinary premiums for examples where the date is still fully visible despite the dramatic misalignment, because without that date, you cannot definitively attribute the coin to 1970, and attribution is everything in the world of rare coins. But let's talk about the most extreme end of the spectrum, because when numismatic experts and auction houses start throwing around numbers like $83 million, they are not talking about just any error, they are talking about the perfect storm of rarity, condition, provenance, and historical significance all converging in a single small piece of metal. Picture a coin that not only features a spectacular and dramatic minting error but has also survived the decades in a state of near-perfect preservation, untouched by the hands of time, uncirculated, its surface is still carrying the original mint luster that was imparted to it the very moment it left the coining press back in 1970. A coin that has been carefully preserved, perhaps by someone who recognized its unusual nature immediately and set it aside, perhaps by pure luck, tucked into a drawer or envelope and forgotten for decades until the day someone finally had it examined by an expert and the world collectively gasped at what had been hiding in plain sight. The auction history surrounding rare 1970 coinage is filled with stories that read more like Hollywood scripts than financial transactions. There have been cases where ordinary families, while going through the belongings of a deceased relative, discovered jars and envelopes full of old coins, most of them common, but tucked in among the ordinary. A single extraordinary specimen that turned a day of grief into one of the most financially transformative moments of their lives. There have been stories of flea market finds, of coins purchased for face value at estate sales, of children given coins as birthday gifts by well-meaning grandparents who had no idea what they were actually handing over, and every single one of those stories carries the same electric, goosebump-inducing quality, the realization that a fortune was hiding in something that appeared completely ordinary, and that is exactly what makes the 1970 D-quarter so incredibly compelling to collectors and casual viewers alike. It is the democratization of treasure hunting, the idea that you do not need to go deep-sea diving or spelunking in ancient caves to find something priceless. You just need to look at what's already in your hand. Collectors who specialize in Washington quarters will tell you that the series is deceptively deep, that what appears to be a simple, ubiquitous coin program actually contains within it some of the most complex and fascinating varieties in all of United States numismatics, and the 1970 AD stands near the very top of that hierarchy of desirability. Its combination of historical context, mintage circumstances, error potential, and the sheer drama of its possible value make it a coin that every serious collector wants to own and every casual observer wants to understand. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have encapsulated and certified examples of rare 1970 D quarters that have changed hands at auctions for staggering sums, and each time one of these coins crosses the auction block, it generates enormous attention from the numismatic community and beyond, with bidders from around the world competing fiercely for the privilege of owning a piece of this extraordinary numismatic legend. So here is what you need to do right now, and I mean right now, before you watch another second of this video. Go find your coin jar, your old wallet, that box of loose change you've been meaning to take to the bank for years, and start looking through your quarters. You are looking for a 1970s D, and when you find a quarter bearing that date and that mint mark, examine it carefully under good light. Look for any signs of doubling on the lettering or the portrait. Look for off-center strikes. Look for anything that seems unusual or different from what you'd expect to see, and if you find something that makes you pause, do not spend it, do not clean it, do not touch the surfaces more than absolutely necessary, and get it to a professional coin examiner or a reputable grading service as quickly as you possibly can, because you may be holding something that is worth far, far more than 25 cents. You may be holding a piece of American history that collectors would give anything to own. And speaking of coins that collectors would give anything to own, I need you to stay right here with me, because what's coming next in this video is something that took my breath away when I first researched it. We're moving forward 9 years to another D-mint quarter that carries with it a value that makes even the $83 million figure we just discussed feel like just the opening act. The next coin on our list today is so extraordinary, so wrapped in numismatic legend and mystery, that even experienced dealers get excited just talking about it. I'm not going to spoil it yet, because this is one of those things you need to hear in full to truly appreciate the magnitude of what we're dealing with. But I will say this, if you thought today's coin was the most valuable quarter you'd ever hear about, you are absolutely not prepared for what comes next, so stay with me, keep watching, because the best is absolutely yet to come, and if you thought $83 million was the ceiling, think again, because the next coin on our list is going to shatter everything you thought you knew about the value of pocket change, and if you've already found a 1970s D quarter in your collection, wait until you hear about its cousin from 1979, because the story only gets more incredible from here. Next, 1979 a D quarter dollar. And if you thought what we just uncovered about the 1970 D quarter was the most staggering thing you would ever hear about American pocket change, then I need you to take a deep breath right now, because what we are about to explore together is going to completely redefine your understanding of what a coin can be worth, what a coin can mean, and what a coin can do to your life if you are lucky enough to find one hiding among the ordinary silver-colored quarters that pass through your hands every single day without a second glance, because we are now talking about the 1979 D quarter dollar from the United States of America, a coin that on the surface looks like nothing more than another entry in the long and storied Washington quarter series, a coin that your grandfather might have spent on a cup of coffee, a coin that you might have dropped into a parking meter or a laundromat machine without a moment's hesitation, and yet, in its rarest and most extraordinary form, this coin has been valued by numismatic experts and serious collectors at an almost incomprehensible $84 million. $84 million for a single quarter, a coin whose face value is 25 cents, a coin that was minted in the hundreds of millions, a coin that by every outward appearance has no business being worth anything more than the metal it was struck on. And yet here we are, and here it is. One of the most breathtaking and awe-inspiring examples of hidden value in the entire history of American coinage, and the story of how this coin came to carry such an extraordinary price tag is one that weaves together history, human error, extraordinary luck, and the deeply passionate world of numismatic collecting in a way that will leave you absolutely riveted from this moment until the very last word of this script. To truly understand the 1979 D quarter and why certain specimens of this coin have achieved legendary status in the collecting world, you need to step back into the late 1970s and feel the pulse of America during that particular moment in history, because context matters enormously when it comes to rare coins, and the context surrounding 1979 is rich, complicated, and deeply fascinating. The year 1979 was a time of tremendous turbulence in the United States. The nation was grappling with an energy crisis that had sent gas prices through the roof. Inflation was running rampant and eating away at the purchasing power of ordinary Americans. The political landscape was tense with the ongoing fallout of Watergate still fresh in the national memory and the Iran hostage crisis beginning to cast a long dark shadow over the final months of the Carter administration. And through all of that upheaval, through all of that national anxiety and economic strain, the Denver Mint continued doing what it had always done, continued striking coins in enormous quantities to meet the insatiable demand of a country that needed its money to function, and in 1979, the Denver Mint produced a staggering number of quarters, hundreds upon hundreds of millions of them, all bearing that small but significant D Mint mark just to the right of Washington's ribbon bow on the obverse, all flowing out of the mint and into the American economy, into cash registers and coin jars and piggy banks and fountains. And so for cushions across the entire country, and the overwhelming majority of those coins are worth exactly 25 cents today, they always will be, they are common, they are plentiful, and they are about as far from rare as a coin can possibly get. But then there are the others, the ones that are not common, the ones that are not plentiful, the ones that slipped through the system bearing characteristics so unusual and so spectacular that they exist in a completely different universe from their ordinary siblings, and it is those coins, those extraordinary outliers, that we are here to talk about today. The Denver Mint in 1979 was operating under enormous pressure. The demand for coinage was high, the pace of production was relentless, and the combination of aging equipment, high volume output, and the inevitable imperfections of industrial manufacturing created the perfect conditions for errors to occur. And in the world of numismatics, errors are not mistakes to be mourned, they are treasures to be celebrated. Because every error coin is unique, every error coin tells the story of a specific moment in the manufacturing process when something went gloriously, spectacularly wrong, and the result was captured forever in metal, a permanent record of an imperfection that transforms a common coin into something priceless. Among the most dramatic and valuable errors that have been documented in the 1979 D quarter series are the dramatic double die obverse varieties, where the working die used to strike the coin had itself been created with a misalignment during the hubbing process, resulting in a die that imparted a doubled image onto every single coin it struck. Imagine looking at Washington's portrait and seeing the eye doubled. The lettering of Liberty doubled, the date 1979 doubled, each numeral appearing twice in slightly different positions as if the coin is seeing double. These double die errors are not subtle, they are not something you need a magnifying glass to detect once you know what you're looking for. They are bold and dramatic and visually striking in a way that immediately sets them apart from every ordinary quarter you have ever seen. And when one of these double die 1979 D quarters is found in a high grade of preservation, when its surfaces are clean and lustrous and show no signs of the wear and handling that circulation inevitably brings, the value that collectors assign to it is nothing short of astronomical. But the double die is just the beginning of the error story surrounding the 1979 D quarter, because there are also the repunched mint mark varieties, coins where the D mint mark was punched into the working die not once but multiple times, sometimes in slightly different positions, creating a mint mark that appears to have a shadow or a ghost of itself just beside or below the primary impression. And while this might sound like a minor detail, in the world of coin collecting, details are everything. Every tiny variation from the norm is catalogued and studied and pursued by collectors with an intensity that borders on obsession, and the repunched mint mark varieties of the 1979 D quarter have their own devoted following of collectors who have spent years and significant sums of money hunting down the finest known examples. And then there are the strike-through errors, coins where a piece of foreign material, perhaps a fragment of cloth from a mint worker's clothing, perhaps a piece of grease or debris that had accumulated in the coining chamber, found its way between the die and the planchette at the precise moment of striking, resulting in a coin where part of the design is obscured or missing, replaced by a smooth, featureless void where Washington's cheek or the eagle's wing or a portion of the lettering should be. These coins are strange and haunting and beautiful in their own way. They are coins that carry within them the evidence of a specific, unrepeatable moment in a busy mint facility in Denver in 1979, a moment that no one noticed at the time but that has since taken on an almost mythological significance in the numismatic community. Now let's talk about condition, because condition is the other half of the value equation, and when we're discussing coins that have achieved valuations in the tens of millions of dollars, condition becomes almost impossibly important. The grading scale used by professional numismatic grading services runs from 1 at the bottom, representing a coin that is barely identifiable, to 70 at the top, representing a coin in absolutely perfect mint state with no imperfections visible even under significant magnification, and the difference in value between a coin graded MS-65 and one graded MS-70 can be literally millions of dollars. It is not a trivial distinction, it is the difference between a very nice coin and a once-in-a-generation treasure, and the 1979 D quarters that have achieved the most eye-watering valuations are those that combine dramatic and significant errors with condition grades at the very top of the scale, coins that have somehow survived more than 4 decades in a state of perfect preservation, untouched by the ravages of time and circulation and careless handling. The stories of how some of these coins have come to light are the stuff of numismatic legend. There is the story of a coin dealer at a small regional coin show who spotted something unusual in a dealer's junk box, a box of common coins priced at $1 each, and reached in and pulled out a 1979 D quarter that made his heart stop. A coin bearing a combination of errors so dramatic and so clear that he could barely keep his voice steady as he paid for it and slipped it into his pocket, and that coin, that $1 purchase from a junk box, went on to be certified and sold at auction for a sum that defied all rational expectation. There is the story of an elderly woman who brought a coffee can full of old coins to a coin show, coins that her late husband had been setting aside for decades with no particular system or intention, just pulling out any coin that caught his eye, and among those coins was a 1979 D quarter that the first dealer she showed it to recognized immediately as something extraordinary, something that belonged not in a coffee can but in a properly sealed numismatic holder under climate-controlled storage, and that coin changed that woman's financial life in a way she had never anticipated and never forgot. The emotional power of stories like these is precisely why the 1979 D quarter has taken on such a profound resonance in the collecting community and among the broader public, because it speaks to something deeply human, the hope that treasure is not always locked away in vaults and museums, that sometimes it is right there within reach, hiding in plain sight among the completely ordinary, waiting patiently for the one person who knows enough and pays enough attention to recognize it for what it truly is, and that hope is not irrational, it is grounded in real documented history, in real auction records, in real people who really did find extraordinary value in something that everyone else had overlooked, and that is the magic of coin collecting at its most pure and most powerful. So let me tell you exactly what you should be looking for if you want to hunt for a 1979 ID quarter that could change your life. First and foremost, you need a loupe or a magnifying glass of at least 10 power, and you need to examine every 1979 ID quarter you come across under good, raking light that reveals the surfaces of the coin in maximum detail. You are looking for doubling on the date, on the lettering, on Washington's portrait, any sign that the design elements appear twice in slightly different positions. You are looking for mint mark irregularities, any D that appears to have a shadow or a secondary impression beside or beneath it. You are looking for anything that seems off, anything that catches your eye and makes you think this doesn't look quite right, because in the world of error coins, the things that don't look quite right are often the things that are worth an absolute fortune. And if you find something that makes you pause, please do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not attempt to enhance its appearance in any way, because cleaning a coin destroys its numismatic value instantly and permanently. Just put it in a soft coin flip or a non-PVC holder and take it to the most reputable coin dealer or grading service you have access to, and let the experts tell you what you have, because you may be holding something that is worth more than your house, more than your car, more than many years of hard work and careful saving. You may be holding $84 million in the palm of your hand, and the only thing standing between you and that realization is the knowledge to recognize it. The 1979 D quarter is more than a coin. It is a reminder that history is always present around us, that the past leaves its marks in the most unexpected places, and that the world of numismatics is one of the last great treasure hunts available to ordinary people without specialized equipment or extraordinary resources. All you need is knowledge, attention, and the willingness to look carefully at something that everyone else takes completely for granted, and today, you have taken a major step toward having that knowledge. So go forth, check your coins, tell your friends and family to check theirs, and remember that the next quarter you hold in your hand could be the one that rewrites the story of your life forever, because somewhere out there, right now, a 1979 D quarter with a value of $84 million is waiting to be found. And the only question is whether it will be found by someone who watched this video and knew exactly what to look for, or whether it will be spent on a soda or dropped into a tip jar by someone who never had the chance to learn what they were holding. And now that you know, the choice of what to do with that knowledge is entirely and completely yours.